Man, what a sad day. Press F in chat for Touch Arcade. Pour one out for the mobile players out there. Touch Arcade is shutting down, so I've been a heavy user of Touch Arcade. I've been always looking forward the Game of the Week article because most of the time it was quite fantastic games that were suggested. I really enjoyed the Jared post on the iOS subreddit about the new games of the week. This is a sad day. This is definitely a sad day. Alright. This is a post that I've known was coming for quite some time, but that doesn't make it any easier to write. After more than 16 years, Touch Arcade will be closing its doors and shutting down operations. There may be an additional post here or there in the coming weeks as we try to honor any previously agreed to obligations, and a proper farewell post is in the works too. But as of now, our normal activity operations have ceased. The reason we're shutting down probably isn't a surprising one. Money. I can't imagine. It seems there's a lot of people coming on the website because the images are not loading. But yeah, in today's landscape, managing a website, a news website, I think is pretty difficult. There's a bunch of gaming websites that have gone down in the past few years, and certainly not just gaming website, but this gaming is a passion, right? I really love gaming, so this is the type of website I go to. Many of you who have followed Touch Arcade for a long time are well aware that we've had financial troubles for many years now, and to be frank, I think it's a miracle that we've been able to last as long as we have. The truth of the matter is that a website like ours just doesn't make money anymore. To our own detriment, we've resisted things like obnoxious in-your-face advertising, egregious clickbait headlines, or ethically questionable sponsorships, which sadly are the types of things that actually still make money in the internet of today. There are a number of other reasons that have contributed to us reaching this point, but I'd rather not get into all that right now. Touch Arcade was an institution for many millions of people over the past 16 years, and it was my full-time job for the last 14 plus years. A solid third of my life. In many ways, it is like one of my children, and having to say goodbye to it is very difficult to do. I'd really rather focus on all the great times we had than dwell on the things which we cannot change. You can feel in this article the sadness of it all. This was definitely something the Touch Arcade staff was passionate about, and yeah, it sucks. It really sucks. I don't know if could Touch Arcade maybe just crank up the YouTube content. I know they have a YouTube channel. Could they make something work with YouTube? Because I like the coverage of the type of coverage Touch Arcade was doing. So maybe there's something to do. I suppose they thought about it and looked into it, and it was not a viable option either. But anyway. Also, as a man with a wife and 2 young children and a mortgage and all of that other fun adult stuff, yeah, high five, I'm 40, I have all of that. This is the end of my livelihood, and despite them being freelancers in a technical sense, that is true for other 2 people who have been the beating heart of Touch Arcade, Sean Musgrave and Mikhail Madnani. I'm very sorry if I mispronounce those names. I probably do. Which brings me to my next point. Please hire us. Job market is not great anywhere and finding new work is tough, especially in the game industry. If you are reading this and you have a need for very capable game industry veterans such as ourselves, please just reach out. I certainly hope, I wish those people to find a job they like, and a job in the gaming sphere, because they are professionals. They are good with gaming. And a good example of this is the previously mentioned Game of the Week post that they did every week. I checked pretty much all those games, and yeah, they were right. The Game of the Week was a good game. It was, Anyway, Jared Nelson, that's me. Obviously, I have more than 14 years of experience working right in the very thick of the mobile gaming boom here at Touch Arcade, writing, editing, managing staff, traveling to conventions. I've pretty much done it all. I also have a pretty varied work history previous to Touch Arcade, including in management roles that I think gives me a really well-rounded set of skills. You can contact me on LinkedIn or by email. Sean Musgrave. Sean has been with Touch Arcade for a bit over 11 years, but has been in professional games media for more than 55 years overall. Not 55, 25 years. Poor Sean, he's not 80 yet. He is, hands down, one of the most gifted writers I have ever encountered, and if we needed a review for a big, important game and needed it by a very tight deadline, Sean was always dependable. He also uses his vast, almost uncanny knowledge of video game history to find interesting angles to write about games that only he could find. Sean, work on a YouTube channel. I don't think it's a viable option for the next year, but I think it should be looked into. Sean lives in Japan and is fluent in both Japanese and English, making him a great candidate for localization work as well. Please reach out to him at moskind@hotmail.com. Mikhail Madnani. As a part of Touch Arcade for more than 7 years, Mikhail has been the workhorse for our staff, posting the bulk of what you would see on a day-to-day basis. There is no possible way our website could have kept running for so long without Mikhail's contributions. An expert at sniffing out interesting news stories and then posting them in a timely fashion, but also to put together a huge features like in-depth interviews and multi-platform reviews. His coffee-laden header images are legendary as well. If you need someone who can reliably and consistently post video game related content, then I cannot recommend Mikhail highly enough. Reach out to him at hello@failgunner.com. So what happens now? If there is some sort of silver lining to all of this, it's that for the foreseeable future, all of the content that has ever been posted to Touch Arcade will remain online and accessible to all. More than 33,000 published articles, including more than 4,000 game reviews, not to mention all of our yearly best of content and Game of the Year pick. These should hopefully all continue living on into the future for reference purposes and just to look back and see how drastically the mobile gaming landscape changed over the last decade and a half. I am very glad that the website is keeping the lights on, at least for archives purposes. There's a bunch of forum posts full of info about some pretty obscure games, so I'm pretty glad this is happening. We are also hoping to continue with our podcast, The Touch Arcade Show, which very recently just celebrated its 600th. How do you say that? I have trouble with numbers with the TH. 600th episode. There are a couple co-hosts who have come and gone during the course of the podcast. Shout out to Brand and Mike. But myself and Eddie Hodap have been a constant presence on the show since the very beginning. And it's really crazy that we've both spent 13 plus years of our lives putting out our I can't read that sentence. Putting out our long podcast on a nearly weekly basis. I'll admit that I'm not super familiar with the podcast. I'm pretty sure I'm subscribed to Touch Arcade YouTube channel. Maybe I'm not, which would make me quite a failed fan of Touch Arcade. I mean, I was here for the website, I was here for the game of the week, I was here for the reviews and the forums. Related to that, you may be wondering about our Patreon. The support from our Patreon has far and away always been the biggest contributor to Touch Arcade, continuing to exist since we launched it in June of 2015, almost a decade ago. It's crazy to think that 2015 is a decade ago. Man, we are not getting any younger. Our thoughts are to pivot the Patreon contributions towards keeping the podcast going and perhaps occasional posts or special features written by the staff here. Perhaps a random Switch arcade or a review about a particularly high-profile mobile game launch. Maybe we could even squeeze in a game of the year for this year, that would be great. It's just a nugget of an idea right now, but it would be pretty cool to see Touch Arcade be able to live on even in that small way. Yeah, I sure hope so. Whatever the case ends up being, I will explicitly change the verbiage of our Patreon to state that it's no longer about supporting the website, and if people choose to stop contributing, then that is totally understandable. If people are giving us money monthly, I want to be absolutely transparent about what it's going towards. Anyway, look for more news about this in the coming weeks, and at the very least, be sure to follow along as a free member on our Patreon to stay in the loop. Also, if you have any questions or concern, please feel free to reach out to me at tips@toucharcade.com or leave a comment below. Well, that about does it, I think. I speak for all of us who have contributed to running Touch Arcade over the past 16 years, from the co-founder Arnold Kim and Blake Patterson to the full-time hire and future editor-in-chief Elliot App, and to the dozens of other writers and freelancers who have helped make Touch Arcade what it is. We just want to give a sincere thank you for ever reading our site, listening to our podcast, or attending one of our events. It has been an absolute pleasure to have such a wonderful audience and who appreciated what we did so much, and we will all forever be grateful for the time that we were able to spend together. Well, thanks a lot, Jared, for all those years of game coverage. There's not a lot on the in the mobile sphere that is professionally done and that are not just garbage article about. I've read today somebody on Reddit, on the iPhone 11 subreddit. This is the iPhone I use still to this day, and somebody linked an article, and it's an article about will iOS 18 will it slow down your phone. And in the article, and I'm not kidding, I quote, this is absolutely crazy. So the article says, so will iOS 18 make your iPhone run slower? Maybe, maybe not. What a fantastic piece of journalism. Now, I know it's not about mobile gaming, but I oftentimes when I read about mobile gaming in other spheres, it's pretty much that. It's kind of useless. You have to find stuff on YouTube such as Min City. Min City is doing a fantastic job covering mobile games. I try to do it too on a very small scale because, YouTube is definitely not my job. I am passionate about video games, that's all. But Yeah, press F in chat for Touch Arcade. This is a sad day. At least we get to keep what's here, which is good. This is definitely better than nothing, and I wish all the Touch Arcade staff to get back on their feet and find something that will make them happy and bring some money home. And yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to cover here. So thanks a bunch for watching. Go send some love to Touch Arcade, subscribe to their YouTube channel, I'll put the link in the description. And that's it for now. Now go do something else, go play games.